Chad Hayden with Moose Runners Barbecue's 19th Annual Jack Daniel's World Barbecue Champion, and this is Barbecue Central.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to a live edition of the Really Big Barbecue Central Show on your Saturday morning. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is the show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. As always, we are broadcasting live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here. And for those of you tuning in to a special Saturday edition of the Really Big Barbecue Show, you know that the Jack Daniels is going down in Lynchburg, Tennessee, and thought we would grab somebody that is taking part and hoping to walk away with the Grand Championship, also sitting in second place overall for KCBS Team of the Year. We race over to the hotline for a few minutes and grab the pitmaster of the American Dream Barbecue Team, David Qualls, joining us here on the show. David, how are you, buddy?
Morning, bud. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous, David. Appreciate you making time here for the show this morning. We don't normally do the old Saturday morning Really Big Barbecue Show. But when you have an event like the Jack Daniels, you got to pull out all the stops here to make sure the listenership is happy. So, David, talk to me a little bit about the morning, how it's going, and how you're feeling leading up to turn-ins a little bit later today.
Well, I am seasoning ribs as we speak, wearing my Bluetooth earpiece. So it's good. Turn-in times are 30 minutes later than normal, which kind of throws you off. If they're an even hour, to me, it's a little easier, but right now, we'll do chicken at 12:30 and ribs at 1, pork 1:30, brisket 2. Then I think they do dessert like at 2:30. And so that's a little different. It's thrown our timelines off, but it has let me sleep about 30 minutes later too. But nobody sleeps the night before the Jack. Too giddy.
Do you have an idea of when the announcements of overall and the categories, of course, will be taking place today?
Well, this is only my second Jack, but last year awards started at 5 o'clock Central, and I think it probably took 30, 40 minutes of all the welcoming and thanking and going through some recognition process and honoring some people that have passed on that have been involved in the Jack. So it's about an hour and a half long award process.
You are a contest creator, promoter, aside from being a championship barbecue cook, David. In regards to the award ceremony, I know you're a guy that likes to kind of get in there, get through it, and then kind of be on your way. Do you think that Brown-Forman has to kind of run that fine line of making sure they take the time to do all of that stuff, or would you like to see it sped up and kind of get through it?
Oh, no. I mean, it's the Jack Daniels. It's once a year. If it takes an hour and a half to do awards and recognize everybody, that's part of it. To me, it would be disrespectful as a cook to holler, hurry up. It's a once a year deal. We're honored to be here. And so, yes, but I do think at a regular contest, a lot of teams like to get the awards done and get it over with. But still, as an organizer, if you've got sponsors, you need to think that, made up your prize pool and stuff. It's just a necessary evil.
David Qualls
You got to take her to dinner first. You know how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. David Qualls joining me here on the show, Pitmaster American Dream Barbecue Team for next couple minutes. David, what are you cooking on this weekend?
Cooking on Jambo, and I'm cooking my ribs on a Backwoods Fat Boy.
Have you noticed a rise in popularity, or maybe they've always been around and you're just kind of hearing about them now, the Gateway drum smoker?
Oh, Gateway is kind of taking the storm by sensation. It's a lot of drums hitting. Obviously, in that Missouri, Kansas area, drums are really prevalent. They create a unique flavor. Sometimes, in my opinion, and I cooked on a drum a couple of years ago when I was transitioning from FEs on my brisket. So, you stun a lot of judges with a different flavor, but then sometimes you offend a lot of judges with that non-traditional barbecue flavor. But the drums are big. Now, I haven't seen a ton of drums here at the Jack this week, to be honest with you, though.
Maybe they're hiding in the back somewhere.
Could be. Everybody's got a drum for chicken, it seems like, anymore, but I'm not seeing a lot of all-can teams here, like Shake and Bake, Getting Basted, those kind of guys that are up with drums.
David, you mentioned a little bit earlier the second time you've been to the Jack. If you could, talk to me a bit about trying to get that best Jack experience while balancing that with really what you need to accomplish on the team side. And I guess, what I mean by that is I imagine, especially there in Lynchburg, with all the goings on, it could be easy to kind of get lost in what's happening and who's around you and the parties and losing track potentially of the task at hand, which, of course, is to win the Jack.
Well, it's not as party-oriented as the Royal is on Friday night because you don't have that open contest, guys. It's their first night. But if you really want the Jack experience, from my opinion, is get down here on Wednesday night and get parked. Thursday, go tour the distillery, see the sights, go around, get your barrelhead signed, do the same thing on Friday. And then Friday night, the Jack has an appreciation dinner for all the teams and volunteers on what they call on Barbecue Hill. And they have a couple of live music and a dinner. And it starts like at 4:30, right after the parade of teams that marches through the square. Then you're over with by, say 6:37. So it's time to get down to business. And so, but I mean, it was as quiet as church out here last night at 9 o'clock.
Do you have a favorite time of the weekend so far?
My favorite time's Thursday night because there's no pressure to get up Friday morning and get on it. So we had a great time. We're parked right next to Smoky D's. My good friend Pigtown's on the other side. Warren County's on the other side of him. Tuffy Stone's on the other side of him. Then on my next side, immediate lights, like Dan from Three Eyes, the Smoke Me Silly folks. And then there's vendors across the street, and on this main drag where we're at, there'll be 10,000 people walk down that street tomorrow, 6 wide. I mean, it's tomorrow. I mean, this morning. So it's quite the event. And we're packed kind of in here like sardines. You literally have 20 foot wide, and that's it. So I literally hit the bottom step on my motorhome, and I'm at the front door of my Jambo.
It is a murderer's row of teams, if you will, with all those guys that you mentioned to the left and to the right of you. Did you go to Miss Mary Bobo's? I'm always hearing about that place when it comes to the Jack.
Always go to Miss Mary Bobo's, and we did that. That's another thing. That's a Thursday deal. And they have 3 seatings, like 11 a.m., 1 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. And we had the 1 o'clock seating at Mary Bobo's. And it's just a nice family-style dinner that is hosted by a local historian, and they tell you the story behind Miss Mary Bobo's boarding house and how Jack Daniel and Lynn Motlow and some of the folks actually lived there, and how Miss Bobo lived till 100 years old. And it's a great meal, too. I mean, we had meatloaf, fried chicken, casserole, Jack Daniel's stewed apples, and then chess pie for dessert, plus cornbread and iced tea. It's a neat experience. It's a true Tennessee Southern atmosphere and a Southern meal. And it's not expensive.
David Qualls.
It's like about $20 a person.
Not bad. David Qualls joining me here on the show, American Dream Barbecue Team. David, are you doing anything different in regards to flavor profiles for the contest today because you're trying to accommodate for judges and this and that? Or are you confident in the fact that the judging tent is a little bit more advanced than we've heard about in years past, and you can just stick with kind of who you're going to go with, what brought you to the dance?
Well, I can't comment to that really because, I know they use a lot of celebrity judges. It's a media event, and they do their best to train them, but the cream always rises to the top. If you'll look and see, there's never been a ghost win the Jack. And I'm pretty much sticking with what we've done all year long. We have to cook white meat in chicken. Right. You have to turn in 7 pieces for every entry, which means with chicken, you can turn in 6 thighs and 1 breast, and that counts as 7 and counts as white meat. But just like anything else, it's kind of like a pork box. If you're going to turn in white meat, you need to have at least 6 or 7 pieces of white meat, 6 or 7 pieces of what your regular turn-in is, thighs or legs or whatever you do for your normal chicken turn-in. And outside of that, turning 6 bones on ribs, you have to do 7. But outside of that, brisket and pork, it is what it is. It's simple. The process is the same as KCBS. However, it's not a true KCBS contest because of the 7 servings and the white meat variant.
Are you and Chris confident in the program and how you've been performing over the course of the year leading into this weekend where you feel you have a better than average shot of walking away with championships today?
I don't have any better than average shot because it's anybody's game here. You got to the Jack by being a champion. I think 6 of us got to the Jack by winning 7 contests within the season. So I mean, everybody here knows what it's like to get that last call, and everybody here is on their game with the best meat possible. And there is some nervous factor, but in the Cooks meeting, they asked everybody to raise their hand if it's their first time for the Jack. It looked like about maybe a quarter to a third of the people it was their first time. So there's not going to be a lot of butterflies out here in this field.
David, transitioning out of this weekend and kind of looking at what's remaining 2015 season coming to a close, KCBS scoring for Team of the Year has you 4 points below where Travis Clark is right now of Clark Crew Barbecue. Have you two, he's down there too, by the way, have you two discussed how the remainder of the season is going to pan out for your respective teams by any chance?
Yes, and and we're good friends. We talk every day. We ate dinner tonight at the Cooks meeting, the little deal up on Barbecue Hill. He's 4 points ahead of me. I'm giving up a 9 point my next contest. I'm shooting for a maximum of 9 total, which put me 5 ahead of him. His next contest is a 5-pointer. So say if I won a 35-team contest and he won a 35-team contest, we're dead tied. At this point, I think he would win the tiebreaker by 1 point. But, we're both running out of contests. We're both off next week because there's only one in Delaware. The week after that, there's one in Bryan, Arkansas, and a doubleheader in St. James that's close enough for us to go to. I don't know if they're going to have 35 teams. I need to go to a 31-team contest for sure to take the lead if we won it. But and Travis has to go to a 35-team to move, anything of significance if he's going to get the jump on me. Outside of that, the very next week is Chatsworth, Georgia, is what I'm looking at. Travis has his first Clark Crew cooking class that week, so he can't cook. The week after that is essentially Plant City, Florida. I have plans. I have entered Chatsworth and have plans to go to Plant City, and we'll just cook this thing out and see what happens. But if it falls the way it falls right now, I'm just tickled to death, and so is Travis. We both talked about this. He said he set his sights on winning Team of the Year this year. I kind of set my sights on qualifying for the Royal, and as you probably know, starting in that first week of April, we hit 7 grands, 3 reserves in like 14 weeks. We just went on a monster tear, which turned us into chasing the 7 for the Jack. And by the time we met our goal of getting the auto for the Jack again this year, we were in the Team of the Year race, whether we liked it or not.
You look at last year, and you had a really good year last year. Ultimately, end up falling off. But this year, you've been in kind of that race, as you'd mentioned, almost all the way through the year. If it's not, and you've been first in Team of the Year standings a number of times, and there's been a lot of trading spaces between you and Travis, a few other teams there to begin with. Have you exceeded all expectations for the American Dream Barbecue team this year?
Excuse me, Scott Keefe, Little Pigtown, is in the house.
Oh, I hear him. All right.
The best thing I can tell you is we've matured a lot this year. We're not as jittery as we were. I mean, we had our first year success last year, and we got nervous. And then after we did good, we did fall off at the end of the year. Sterling Ball, who sponsors us with Big Papa Smokers and West Coast Offense, said, "Gee, Dave, by the time you got to King of the Smoker, you were just a zombie." And I was so fixated on trying to win Pork of the Year, I was a zombie. Now it's just happy come go. Whether we win, great. We don't, great. We went to Nelsonville, Ohio last week and reserved missed grand by 0.6 of a point, which would have put us in team of the year lead. Shoot, I was just happy. You know, it is what it is. Tuffy Stone told me at the Royal, he walked up to me and he said, there's nothing like that feeling of walking back to your chair with the reserve grand trophy, winning a couple of categories, having a bunch of checks. Everybody's excited, and it was all for nothing because you had to win to move. And that's all I thought about was Tuffy when they called us for reserve last week.
Dave, let me ask you one last question. I appreciate the time this morning. If you had to pick,
Sure.
If you had to pick one, because both would be preferable, obviously, would you rather win this weekend and trade out Team of the Year, or would you rather win Team of the Year at the end of the year and trade out the Jack this weekend?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. You know, and I have thought of that, honestly. The Jack Daniels is very prestigious, and you'll go down in the annals of history as being a champion Jack Daniels cook. To win the Team of the Year shows it's like a thoroughbred race versus a quarter horse race. You know, you jumped up there and had to win a lot, cook a lot, and be consistent. So it says something to your ability as a cook to compete. You know, just like a NASCAR, you know, you may win one race and never do anything to the end of the year. So I think they're both equally important. Barbecue has got to be such a commercialized thing. Gee, I need to win Team of the Year so I can get a sponsor, or, you know, gee, I could get on TV if I had this. I don't look at it that way. Could care less about that. It's cool to have sponsors, you know, and it's nice to endorse a product, but, you know, the Jack has its historical prestige, and the Team of the Year has its prestige and accomplishments of showing that I am a good cook week in, week out over a 50-week season.
So is that more important to you then than winning one contest, regardless of where it sits in the perceived annals of a competition season or over the course of time?
If you know, Greg, that's hard to answer, to be honest with you, because they're both very important. I mean, you know, and I can't, you know, choose my son over my daughter there.
So
but,
let me ask a different question.
If we won the Jack and didn't win the Team of the Year, I would be totally happy. If we did not win the Jack tomorrow and still finish second place Team of the Year, I'd feel very happy.
All right, fair enough. I'm not going to badger you, David, because there's bigger things and tasks at hand today. We're talking with David Qualls, the pitmaster of the American Dream Barbecue team, who is joining us live from Lynchburg, Tennessee, competing at the World Championship Jack Daniels Barbecue Cook-Off. Dave, really appreciate the time. I would say good luck. However, we both know that there is no better show karma experience than the coming on the day of the contest. So I imagine we'll be talking this coming Tuesday about your overall victory.
Yes, and as soon as the bank opens Monday, I'll wire transfer you that payment, too.
There he is. All right, David, always appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much.
Greg, thank you for what you do.
All right, take care. There he is.
Bye.
David Qualls, American Dream Barbecue team, taking place at competing at the Jack Daniels World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off. Wow. Live this morning. How about that? There's no other 2 hours, folks. Sorry. But wanted to give you a live shot with one of the top pitmasters. A guy who I feel is one of the three that has the best shot at winning this weekend. Now, look, certainly there's a number of teams out there that could win, as he had mentioned. But if you're tracking how they do, and I know the judges and the celebrities and all that stuff might have a propensity to skew the palate experience. But for my money, if I'm betting on three horses, it's American Dream, it's Clark Crew, it's Iowa Smoky D's. But certainly Tuffy Stone has a propensity of winning these kind of contests. He doesn't do the show anymore. I don't know why. Shout out to Tuffy. Why don't you do the show anymore, man? So there you go. We're going to step out. I'm going to put this on podcast, so if you missed it live, you can get it here in just a few short minutes. Also be posted to YouTube and around the internets or interwebs as well. Good luck to everybody competing at the Jack Daniels today. We will have the winner, if at all possible, this coming Tuesday for the Really Big Barbecue Show from 9 to 11. Until then, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you later.